this is Backlit coming at you with a new Let's, and we are going to be doing Let's Unboxing. Sorry for that, there's no lights behind. I'm not in the mood to do lights right now. Okay, so, first off, give me a minute. I totally forgot what I was doing. I will be right back. I am back. Sorry about that. So today, I got something from Amazon. I already opened it, so kind of put out of the package ready. um, so if you see it, like all the shit. Okay. So off. First off, we have the TikTok top that goes to the TikTok leggings. See, I don't know if you can see well. They are very comfortable. I already tried it on. Um, very comfortable. Um, I want to make sure I'm not on. Okay. Hi there, Georgia. Well, Elino 2018. Welcome to the stream. As I was saying, um, and then we have the TikTok leggings. I don't know if you guys can see it. There you go. I have worn already. Kind of out of the package already. um, but yeah, that was the unboxing of the TikTok leggings and TikTok. As far as that goes, I need to wait on my boyfriend for his video to be released before I can do mine. um So I'm just gonna have it being recorded. Um, so yeah, pretty much busy. I was at my boyfriend's house and um the 5th or the 4th, I'm not sure. Um but anyway, George, how is your day going? I hope I like saying it right. Cause I butcher names like really, really bad. I don't really mean to. um I'm thinking of what to play, as far as the game goes. Cause I have Fortnite and there's this thing I wanted to get on Fortnite. But thinking maybe no. Um um but I gotta get something. Keep forgetting about it. Okay. Gotta have him. Send me that for Team Viewer. Alright. I have a question for everybody. What is your favorite type of ice cream? Mine? Well, I have tons, but my most favorite one is anything chocolate related. Um, but at the moment, I'm having cookies and cream. Good, good too. um, trying to think of what I should talk about. Not that easy. Um, yeah, I have to have my boyfriend do Team Viewer so I can get all my music off of his computer. um, but yeah, I am kind of suck at talking. Even though I have like a lot to talk about, um, um, I'm trying to. Usually, I do like a puzzle or something, and I do just chatting. um, I'm. Oh, okay. No, no. The reason why my room is still this way, I had a plan to basically do changes in my room. But I couldn't really do it. I had to go and be with my boyfriend because he really, really, um, and I love him, and I would go there anyway, get me stuff. Um, but yeah, he's not doing so good. Um, he will be back. But needs to rest and recuperate and try to figure something out. I was gonna maybe I don't know. I totally forgot what I was gonna. Boy, this is hard to think. um, I don't remember. Um, yep, I don't remember. um, yeah, I was gonna play a game. But I'm not sure what to play. I do have a few options, but I kind of what's the word? I think um I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I'm like not here at the moment. I'm still off in the La La Land. um where in the hell is everything stuff? Oh, so Alice is Madness is still here. Oh, okay. Weird. um Hey, what the hell happened to my novels? I don't know. Weird. Um does no. I don't. Maybe it's in Google Drive? I don't know. I was gonna read something. Maybe read like a story or something. But I don't really have an actual book at the moment. Um, so I'm gonna read something from online. So if you guys have a favorite book, just let me know and I will read it. Just nothing provided. Um, just I don't want to read any romance. um, I don't remember. I could. Well, he's gonna be reading the dish. Be reading something. I don't remember. He's. Um, I don't remember. Totally forgot. Kindle. Let me check and see if I can go on the get the Kindle Fire app on the. All right, here we go. Kindle for PC. That's what I'm looking for. Um. Okay. Um. I don't remember, honestly. Oh, okay, I think I got it. Okay. I can just use this. Ooh. Sorry about that. I have where? Oh, I don't want to. I don't want to read that. Oh, okay. No, that's a Halloween one. That's the Christmas one. That I have no idea. Idea. Um. Okay, I think I found one. This is called The Adventures of a Cat and a Fine Cat too. I'm also gonna. I'm reading it. Okay, as I said, um, The Adventures of a Cat and a Fine Cat too, by Alfred Elvis. Also, The Adventures of a Bear, The Adventures of a Dog, etc. With 8 illustrations by Harrison Ware, London 80 and Co. Henrietta Street, Covent Garden, something something. I can't read that. Printed by John Edward Taylor, Little Queen Street, Lincoln's Inn Field. Okay, that's the preface. I think no. This one is. I don't even know what this is. It's not an actual book, so I will not be reading that. After all, sorry about that. Um. Okay, I finally found one. I think I can read. Okay, this one is called The Golden Acorn. Um. Basically, about I have to find it so I can show you guys on the actual um Kindle what I'm reading. So just give me a moment to find what I need. I hate my computer so bad. Okay, I think I found it. There we go. Alright, Golden Acorn. Yeah. Okay. So let me do Windows capture. Not that. No, not what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? Maybe it's this one. Okay. Um. What? Okay. Actually, no, because I didn't want to do that because I have some things I don't want to show on my computer. um. Hold on, let me close out of this. Out of this. I don't want to have it with the do not disturb is on. So I should not get bothered on my so walk. Here, duplicate. There we go. So I want to show you guys the actual pages. But I need to go to let me see if this works. One, okay, maybe I can go to put you guys on a different screen. There you go. Kindle. Okay. There you go. Now I can just go to other one. So this one, go here. There we go. That's what I wanted right there. Um, um, just okay. Okay, there we go. Alright, there we go. This is called the Golden Acorn. Okay. So goes. It's by Catherine Cooper. Jake Brennan's adventures continue in Garrison Gate, the sequel to Catherine Cooper award-winning The Golden Acorn. Published date is February 22nd, 2011. It's for $8 back. Pages, blah blah blah. Okay, about the author. Born in Wellington, Shropshire, Catherine Cooper was the primary school teacher for 29 years before deciding she loved to write for children. She has now self-published 3 books which she promoted and distributed herself. Catherine's love of history and myths and legends and Thorpeshire countryside shines through in her charming The Adventures of Jake Brennan, Book 1, The Golden Acorn. Catherine Cooper, illustrations by Ron Cooper and Catherine Cooper. And copyright tag Catherine Cooper 2009. Basically I'm just reading it. So okay, for Ron for being there. Village or Gaswoon Hen Village. Newton Gill Forest, the Newton Gill, the Brennan's house, Grove, Form Patra, the back lane, the playing field, the Raven's Bowl, Hillfort, Glasswoo Forest, to South, Salchester, Standing Stones, Hawthorne Well, Ewell House, All Hallows Church, Glasswoo Hen Cricket Club, and Church Road. Okay, here we go. A Brennan boy you need to find, born at Samhan of humankind. The one. Prologue. Nora tapped her wand impatiently on the kitchen table before speaking to Chamberlain. I'm sure I'm right. Jake Brennan is the one. He can't be. He's so small and weedy. He's supposed to be strong and brave. Nora thought for a while before she spoke again. He's a Brennan. Well, there has to be a better Brennan than this one. The prophecy is quite clear. And this Brennan was born on the right night. In the right place and at the right time. The trees have been watching him. Since he arrived, they seem satisfied he's the one. The trees could be wrong, Camelin mumbled in case he was overheard. He knew how fast word could travel from one tree to another. If Arana, the ancient Hamadryad, caught him, he'd be in big trouble. She lived in the oldest oak tree in the heart of Glasswoon Forest and was always very well informed. I'm sure he'd help us. If he doesn't, all will be lost. He's our last hope, and we're running out of time. If he's our last hope, we're doomed. As Nora paced up and down the kitchen, the end of her wand began to sputter. Red sparks erupted from the tip. We need help. I'm going to write to Elaine. She needs to be here. As Nora wrote, Camelin hung his head. He knew she was right. Time was running out. Arana was slowly dying. She was the only Hamadryad left on Earth, and without her protection, the tree spirits of the forest will eventually fade away, and only hollow trees will remain. Unless they found someone willing to help them find a way to open the portal into the other world, and bring back new Hamadryad acorns, their own time on Earth would end too. As each year passed, Arana grew weaker. It would need a very special person to accept the challenge, which lay ahead. Camelin continued to sulk. Jake Brennan had not impressed him. He's not the kind of boy who's going to care if the spirit of an ancient oak tree lives or dies. If he passes the test, he will. There was a long silence. Eventually, Nora fished in her pocket and produced a beautiful golden acorn and placed it carefully on the table. Put this where the boy will see it. It's the only way to be sure. I bet he kicks it. I was watching him yesterday, kicking cans and stones about. What kind of help could he possibly? Johnny, we've got to make might be dangerous. Too dangerous for the likes of Jake Brennan. Take the acorn. If he sees it and picks it up, we'll know he's the one. Camelin scowled. He picked up the golden acorn and reluctantly left the kitchen to find a good place to hide and watch. He might have a long wait. He wasn't happy, nor was probably right, but Jack Brennan was the farthest thing from a hero he's ever seen. Okay. The Golden Acorn, Chapter 1. Oi, Pickle, leave! Pimple, leave it! One of the boys from the middle of the field yelled as Jake went to kick the ball. Don't even think about it! Jack had been watching them play football for the past half hour. No one had asked him to join in. No one had taken any notice of him until now. The sight of the goalie running towards him should have made him think twice. But it was too late. His foot had already made contact with the ball. What'd you do that for? Snarled the keeper. Only trying to help. Any chance of a game? No, clear off. You don't belong here. I live here. Since when? Since yesterday. Well, if I see you here again, you're gonna wish you didn't. As the goalkeeper turned to join the game, he pushed Jack hard on the shoulder, sending him to the ground. Tears welled up in Jack's eyes. He wished he'd never come to the field. He thumped the grass with his fist. It wasn't fair. He hadn't asked to come and live with Granddad. He didn't know anyone here. Jack watched the boys from where he lay. He knew he ought to go. The game hadn't started yet. There was a lot of shouting as everyone ran over to a tall boy who had blood gushing from his nose. Jack began to feel uncomfortable. The boys turned and looked in his direction. Someone pointed. Another yelled, "Get him!" And then they all started yelling. The ball he kicked must have hit the tall boy in the face. For a moment, Jack froze as they ran towards him. He managed to scramble to his feet and run as fast as he could towards the gate. Hot tears burned his cheeks. Half stumbling, half running, he skidded into the back lane behind the field. He wished he'd got his bike, but he'd not been able to bring it with him to Granddad. The boys were gaining on him. Their voices growing louder and louder. He didn't want to think about what might happen if they caught him. Jack knew he didn't have enough time to make it back to the safety of Granddad's house. As he rounded the corner, he looked for somewhere to hide. In desperation, he saw a gap in the hedge. Sometimes being small had its advantages. He flung himself in the undergrowth, wiggled through the long grass, and squeezed under the bushes. He hoped they hadn't seen him. Sat very still on the other end of the hedge. His heart pounded so loudly that he was sure they'd be able to hear it. He's got to be here somewhere. Jack recognized the keeper's voice. The boys began searching the undergrowth. He could hear their footsteps going in closer and closer. They were nearly at the place where Jack had dived through the hedge. Do you think he'd gone through there? Jack made himself as small as he could and held his breath. He's mad if he has. Don't go to Nutty Nora's. She'll have him if she finds him in her garden. Jack didn't like the sound of Nutty Nora, but he wasn't going to leave his hiding place. They were so close now. One of them tried parting the branches, but instead of holding Jack, he yelled and jumped back, clutching his hands. Ow! Now me hands are bleeding as well as me nose. Them thorns are lethal. Come on, leave him for Nora. We'll get him another time. Let's get on with the game. The others started agreeing with the goalkeeper, but none of them moved. The tall boy with the bleeding nose and hands was still trying to peer through the leaves. If he'd got through there, he'd be cut up good and proper. Maybe he'll bleed to death. Garvin might too. Boyd began to laugh, and the goalkeeper yelled through the hedge. Can you hear me, Pixie boy? Nutty Nora's gonna get you. Don't stand there too long, or you might not come out again. Jack put his hand over his ears, but he could still hear the goalkeeper's voice. The old witch turned people into stone. Jack held his breath. He didn't dare move. The sooner he'd go home, the better. Boys walked away, and the shouting eventually stopped. Jack strained to listen. He was scrunched up, uncomfortable, and frightened. Jack didn't want to meet Nutty Nora, but he didn't want to go back into the lane just yet either. He wasn't sure if the boys had really gone. He decided to wait a while, at least until his heart stopped pounding. He looked back at the hedge he wiggled under. It was covered in long, sharp thorns. He made a quick check of his hands and legs. There weren't any blood, only a prickling sensation on his palms. As he scratched them, small red spots began to appear. He must have nettled himself. He looked around cautiously from his hiding place. He was at the bottom of a very large garden. There was an old house in the distance, a bit like Granddad, but the sun was in his eyes and he could see it too well. A sudden movement gave Jack a fright. Someone was coming towards him. He backed farther into the undergrowth and held his breath again. He wished his heart would stop pounding. He was desperate to catch his hands. They wouldn't stop itching, but he didn't dare move. Was this nutty Nora? If he was found, he'd be in trouble. He was obviously trespassing. Jack looked around for means of escape. It was then he noticed the statues, lots of them, more than what people had in their gardens. His knees began to tremble as he remembered the keeper's last word. The tall figure was definitely a woman. She was so close now that he could have reached out and touched the bottom of her long, flowing dress. He shut his eyes and hoped she wouldn't see him. Come on out, Jack Bannon. I know you. Okay. Come out, Jack Bannon. I know you're hiding underneath my blackthorn hedge. The woman's voice was strong, but she didn't sound annoyed. He wondered how she knew his name. There wasn't any point in trying to hide. He crawled out and tried to look sorry as he stood up. In front of him was a very tall lady. She looked a lot older than his granddad. She had a lot of wispy, silvery hairs intermossed throughout amongst the brown. As Jack hung his head, he could see she had beautiful hands with long, tapering fingers. He hoped the tall woman looked down at him and would know he was sorry for being in her garden. Have you hurt yourself? Only my hands. Let me look. Jack showed her his palms. I'm sorry, he began, but the woman interrupted him. Follow me. I got just the same for nettle rash. Jack wasn't sure what to do. He didn't want to be impolite, but he had no idea who this woman was. He wasn't sure if he should follow her. What if she was a witch? I'm not going to hurt you, and despite what those boys were shouting, I can assure you these statues are not made from people. She smiled at Jack. I'm Eleanor Ewell, but everyone calls me Nora. Your granddad won't mind you being here. You know my granddad? Of course I do. And your dad. We lived next door to each other all our lives. But you know my name. I know all about you, Jack Bannon. Now, follow me and let me see to your hands. Jack immediately followed her. As they made their way toward the house, he had time to look around. The garden was immense. They went on a path which led them around vast flower beds. Jack could hear birds singing. They passed a pedestal bird bath in the shape of a large leaf, a small lawn, a picnic bench, and a large bird table. A thick prickly hedge appeared to surround the whole garden. Near the house was a white cylinder dovecot. It was perched on top of a thick pole with a tall thatched roof. Under the trees were carpets of bluebells and occasionally patches of white flowers. There was a distinct smell of garlic as they walked under a shady archway of trees. Jack wondered what kind of things Nora knew about him. If she knew his dad, she knew he was an archaeologist working in Athens. They lived in Greece since he was 5. He didn't remember Nora. He was sure that if he met her before, he wouldn't have forgotten her. He didn't remember much about Granddad either. How could his dad have sent him to England? He'd have to leave the school he loved. He had to leave the school he loved and the little white house on top of the hill. He'd probably never see his friends again. He didn't want to live in Granddad's creaky old house. He wasn't sure Granddad really wanted him to be there either. His thoughts were interrupted when Nora stopped in front of a huge wooden door with an arched top. This is my herbarium. Herbarium? The door creaked loudly as Nora pushed it open. It's where I prepare my lotions and medicines. Okay. I don't know how long this is. Check. Oh my god, this is I'm only on page 12. Oh my god, this book is so... Oh, wow. My nose is starting to haunt me. Yo, what? That's weird. Table content. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 9 more pages. Okay. Okay. Alright, I think I can do it. The sunlit room smelt strange. There were shelves filled with bottles and jars, which went from the uneven stone floor to the low-beamed ceiling. Everything had been labeled neatly in small, flowing writing. Bunches of dry flowers and herbs hung down from hooks. By the door was a bookshelf filled with leather-bound books of all shapes and sizes. A large umbrella and broom stood in a huge plant pot on the other side of the door. Jack felt as if he stepped back in time. There wasn't anything modern in the room at all, not even an electric light. Candle holders with half-burnt candles of all shapes and sizes were dotted around the room. Nora pointed to a large wooden table with 4 high back chairs on either side. It was covered in bowls and bottles. Lay yourself down. I'll have those hands sorted out in no time. In front of Jack, lying on the table, was a large square book. It looked heavy. The edges of the page were ragged, as if they'd been torn to size instead of being cut. On the outside, in between 2 moonlit trees, he could see the word Book of Shadows, written in beautiful silver writing. Nora hardly picked it up and returned it to one of the bookshelves. A dark brown jar down from the top shelf boomed out 2 blobs of green goo onto 2 pieces of lid and brought them over to where Jack was sitting. Hands out! Jack held out both palms, and Nora strapped the piece of lid onto them. Green goo felt wonderfully cool. Within seconds, the prickling and burning sensation had stopped. Is that any better? Yes, thanks. A compound of dock and rosemary leaves works every time. I didn't know that, Jack replied politely, trying to sound interested. Nora laughed and smiled at Jack. I'd be surprised if you did. Now tell me, why were the boys chasing you? Jack explained and ended by apologizing for coming through the hedge. Nora nodded and smiled when he finished. You're always welcome here, Jack. The hedge knows that, otherwise it wouldn't have let you in. Jack had no idea what Nora was talking about. Maybe the boys were right and she was nutty after all. I was sorry to hear about your mom, she continued. A lot of people had said this to Jack since his mom had died. If she'd still been alive, his life wouldn't have changed drastically. It wasn't fair. He should have been spending his half-term holiday in Greece with his friends. Instead, it had been decided he would live in England with Granddad. His dad thought it would be a good idea for Jack to spend the last few weeks of term at the local school. It would give him a chance to make some new friends. He started starting at the secondary school in September. He'd only arrived the day before, and so far none of the boys he met had been very friendly. He hoped they weren't going to be in the same class. Nora looking at Jack intently, as if she was reading his thoughts. He wasn't quite sure what to say. I think I better be going now. Yeah, that's probably quite enough for one day. The batch will go completely if you manage to keep the bandages on for about an hour. Jack smiled gracefully. Come on, I'll show you a shortcut home. Once more he followed Nora through the vast garden. They didn't speak until they were opposite the statues. Do you like them? Nora asked. Jack didn't know what to say. The statues were pure white. They were all women in flowing robes. He looked hard at the one nearest the path. She had a lovely face and slightly pointed ears. They look sad, he replied. They're nymphs, explained Nora. Like Echo and Daphne? You know about nymphs? My mom told me about Echo and Narcissus and how Daphne got transformed into a laurel tree. They were 2 of her favorite stories. Jack swallowed hard and fought back the tears. Nora gave him a kindly smile. We'll talk about nymphs another day. Come on. Not far now. Eventually they stopped in front of a large, overgrown hedge. He thought he heard Nora whisper something before she bent down and pointed toward the thick branches. A small gap had appeared. Jack wasn't sure if he had been there before. He turned and whispered in Jack's ear. Follow the pathway for the yard trees and you'll arrive at your granddad's garden. Whenever you want to visit, come back the same way. I'll look forward to seeing you again. Jack stepped through the arched gap into the tunnel. The narrow pathway snaked the way into the distance through the dense trees. Yours fine needle like sorry about that, I had to check something. The yours fine needle like leaves seemed to quiver as he brushed them with his arm. He turned around to say goodbye, but Nora had gone. He couldn't even see the hole anymore. There was nothing else to do but follow the path. It wasn't long before he came to another gap. He stepped out into the sunshine at the bottom of his granddad's garden. Jack wasn't sure he'd be going back to the trees again to Nord in a hurry. Even if he wanted to, he'd probably never find the way in again. The yew trees were so tightly packed together that as if by magic, the paths he'd come along seemed to have complete. Jack sighed as he made his way towards the house. He wasn't looking forward to spending the rest of his life spent living here. He'd gone out to try and have a game of football and ended up spending the afternoon with an old woman. She'd been kind, but there was something strange about her. He'd never met anyone like her before. After his narrow escape from the boys, he was reluctant to go back to the field. His granddad wasn't expecting him back for a while. It would be better if he didn't have to explain why his hands were bandaged. He decided to go back to the lane and try the other direction. The hedgerows were thick and high on either side of the single track. It was impossible to see through them. Artie's smell of newly turned soil met his granddad's vegetable plot was on the other side of the hedge. He could hear him whistling somewhere in the distance. It was hot and stuffy in the Jack wished he'd brought a drink with him. Slight rustling from behind made him turn quickly. He thought he saw someone duck back behind one of the trees. Was it one of the boys? The field, Jack felt uneasy. Air was still. He got ready to run. Maybe this hadn't been such a good idea after all. Perhaps all the boys were behind him, behind the trees, waiting to jump out at him. He stood still, undecided what to do. Did he carry on or go back to the safety of the garden? His imagination playing a trick on him? There might not be anything behind the tree at all. The only way to find out would be to go and have. But Jack didn't feel brave enough to do that. He decided to go back to the house as he turned. He felt a sharp blow on the back of his head. Ooh. Ow! Something hard hit him and bounced off into the grass. Jack rubbed his head, ran around, expecting to see the gearing faces of the boys from the field. But the lane was empty. What could have hit him so hard? Who could have thrown it? There were lots of pebbles and stones on the path. It could have been any of them. Jack stood very still and listened. There wasn't a sound apart from a slight rustling of leaves. For the third time today, he could hear his own heartbeat pounding. He didn't like being alone in the lane. He got the feeling it was being watched. Next time he went for a walk, he'd go with Granddad. About to turn and run when he saw a gleam of light. Something underneath the hedge glinted in the sunlight. He bent down and pulled the grass apart. A small shiny object lay on the ground. Where had it come from? Jack looked around before he picked it up and examined it more closely. It was a golden acorn, not quite like any acorn he'd ever seen before. It was beautifully carved, big and heavy, warm in his hand. Jack put it in his pocket and searched around to see if he could find any more. That's the end of chapter 1. I will get back to this book later, but this was the golden acorn, and this was chapter 1. So then, this has been Sparkle World with Let's, and today we were reading the golden acorn, and also then, go out. Bye!